Okay, the next question, I think it relates to the unemployment rate and inflation rate. I think the question is this one. We want to show two different types of chart in the same figure. So we want to show unemployment rate as column chart and inflation rate as line chart. Okay, so let's highlight the information. I suppose Excel can distinguish the years column. Let me try that. Would that be the case? Yes. Okay. Do you see the x-axis there? Okay. Right click the legend. Always remember to move the legend to the bottom, then the chart, the figure looks nicer. Okay. And now the point is I want to change inflation rate from column chart to line chart. So right click any red column. I think it should be this one. Change the chart type. And then line chart with the markers. Okay, I think that's it actually. Move charts, new sheet, sheet 2, and I just want to increase the font size. Okay, so inflation rate was on an upward path actually. Okay, next one. I think this is just a revision question. We did it before, the XY scatter plot, but this time it is the Phillips curve actually. Remember the Phillips curve shows the inverse relationship between unemployment rate and inflation rate. So I want you to do this XY scatter plot showing the markers and then insert the, not inflation, I mean regression line. Okay, you see the negative slope. So unemployment rate must be the x-axis variable. So highlight the variables and the data, insert, scatter, the normal XY scatter plot with markers. I can delete this. I don't need that. Let me first move the chart. New sheet, sheet 13, and then I increase the font size. Layout, the x-axis. I need to label the x and y axis quite clearly, okay, so that people would know we have unemployment rate on the x-axis, and then for the y-axis, it would be inflation rate. Okay. And then, do you still remember how to insert a linear chart, linear line, or regression line? So right-click any marker, add trend line. Yes, linear regression, and then take the last two options. Show the R square, and the R square is pretty high actually. Okay, and then the regression, negative relationship between unemployment rate and inflation rate. You know the reason. You learn it from your undergrad macroeconomics. And then the next one, okay, we work out the inflation rate earlier, and then this line chart on inflation rate. And I want you to manually add two horizontal line charts to show, not charts, two horizontal lines, two red lines to show the inflation targeting range from 2000 to 2016. And then you can identify the years that we fail to achieve the inflation targeting goal. Okay. I think this is the last question under this worksheet. Okay, so inflation here, insert line with the markers, remove the legend, and then the x-axis. Right click anywhere inside the plot area, select data, edit, and then be careful, we only have the inflation data from 1991, so don't include 1990. Okay. Then move the charts, chart 14, and then increase the font size a bit. And again, I don't want to show the two decimal places, they are redundant. So right click, format axis, number, 0 decimal places. Okay. And now how can we manually add two horizontal lines? Is it layout? Yes, under layout, shape, this line. I want to insert a line, then start from 2000, 3%. Left click, hold it. Then you extend it. You still hold the mouse, left click. Extend this line all the way until 2016. Then you can release. Okay. Can I change the color? Right click. Format object. This is actually another plastic surgery skill, so keep that in mind. Right click the line. Format object. I want to make it thicker, so I increase the width. I can change the color to red color. Okay, happy with this? Then we insert one more line. Go back to, where am I now? Layout, shape, line. This time, again, starting from 2000, but 6%. This is the upper range of the inflation targeting goal. Left click, hold it, extend the line, and stop at 2016. And then right click the line, format object. Then the same old story. Okay, red color just for consistency's sake. That's it. Okay, and then remember, when you work as an economist, one day you derive or you plot this chart and you include it on one of your PowerPoint presentation slides, and you have to present the results. As a good economist, you need to be able to analyze the data and interpret the results with good communication skills. So you are going to tell people, out of, let's say, from 2000 to 2016, 17 years, out of the 17 years, that out of the 17 years, we actually were unable to achieve the inflation targeting goal in certain years. For example, 2002, 2004, 2007, 8, and 9. And then slightly above 6% in 2014 and 2016. Okay? So I hope you're happy with this question and the new plastic surgery skills that you have learned. And then we can move on to pivot table. Okay, the data come from the quarterly labor force, and the sample size is actually much bigger than 5,000. So I randomly extract 5,000 observation. The true sample size is actually like 100,000. Okay, at least 100,000. Okay, ID, province, race, gender, age, education, and earnings. And I want to introduce a command called freeze pane. The point is, when the sample size is so big, you scroll downwards. Do you see you are no longer able to view the first row, which gives you the name of each variable. So is there a way to scroll downwards, but you would always be able to see the first row? And the answer is yes, there is such a way to ensure that will happen. So what you need to do is just click on cell A2 and then view freeze pane again. And then click. Do you see a line now? And now you scroll downwards, you can always see the first row. Okay? And then let's go back to the question. According to the question, there's a poverty line, 1,500. Okay, if your earnings is below 1,500, you are defined as poor. So let me add a new variable called status, which means your poverty status. Then you might wonder, do I have to type non-poor for the first one, poor for the second one? All the way, do I have to look at every single observation and type the answers 5,000 times? The answer is no. What you have to do is to sort the earnings in, let's say, ascending order. So you click anywhere inside the data range, data, sort. Which variable? Sort by earnings. Smallest to largest. I think this is the correct suggestion. By the way, you see Excel automatically takes the first option. The data has headers, meaning it actually means the first row is not data. It gives you the variable names, and this is the correct suggestion. Okay, so I will leave this tick box unchanged. Okay, and then I think I can type poor here. Then you can use that double left click command that we have done a few times earlier. Okay, so everyone is poor, but actually the answer is no, because the poverty line is 1,500. So we have to look for the first observation. This one, row 1502. This person, from this poor person onwards, the earnings above 1,500. So from this person onwards, the poverty status should be non-poor. Okay, we can scroll all the way. So this is the earnings of the greatest earnings amount, 1,000, 100,000 actually. I wish I earned this amount. Okay, I think this is monthly figure actually. Okay, happy with that? Then we can do the pivot table. Okay, mean earnings by province, race, gender, education. So that is the first question. We call this one-way tabulation. Then we will move on to do the two-way tabulations. I want to know the number of poor and non-poor people by province, race, gender, education. Okay, so these are the results we want to derive, and we want all the pivot tables to appear in the same sheet, one sheet only. And there is a way to tell Excel to do so. Okay, so click anywhere in the data range. Insert pivot table. Okay, this is the suggestion by Excel. It makes sense. It is the right data range. Excel suggests, do you want the pivot table to appear in the new sheet? For the first pivot table, this is the correct answer. Okay. Obviously, there's nothing here. Then what you have to do is, for the first one, we want to derive mean earnings by province. So you click province, left click, hold it, drag it, and then it should fall under this cell. And now you see some changes here. And then the next one, earnings. Left click, hold it, and then put it here. Currently, the suggestion by Excel is to derive the sum of earnings, but we actually want the mean of earnings. So what we have to do is can you click this inverted triangle? Okay. Value field settings. Then I tell Excel I actually want the average earnings. Okay, now you see the changes, but the results looks quite ugly. So highlight the data range, decrease the decimals. I think this is the first time we decrease the decimals. Previously, we have done quite a few questions where we increase the decimals. Okay, so this is the first pivot table by province. And then the next one would be by race. Go back to sheet 7. Again, click anywhere inside the data range. Insert pivot table. Still the same data range, but this time don't click new worksheet. Remember, we want all the pivot tables to appear in the same sheet. So from this pivot table onwards, always click existing worksheet. But where in the existing worksheet? So click here, sheet 15, and then click here. Then in other words, you want the second pivot table to be shown here, cell A15, sheet 15. Okay. And then this time I want the results by race. Again, I don't want the sum of earnings. I rather want the average earnings. So click the inverted triangle, value field settings, average. And again, decrease the decimal places. Okay, let's do two more. By gender. Oopsie, wrong one, this one. We will interpret the results later after we finish the first 4 pivot table. And then we will do the last one by education. Okay, we finished the first 4. So let's interpret. Remember, I told you a few minutes ago, this is not the true sample size. I only randomly